Everybody, hi. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today is May 17th, 2024. That's more than 4 years of learning together, of being together, of creating community together. And what a privilege it has been to be with this community for so long. It has broadcast 1,054, friends, since we began this community, consecutive weekdays for over 4 years of just finding each other and saying good morning to each other. To friends like David, to friends like Jill, Robert, good to see you. Hi, Adele. Sandy, good to see you. Shari and Barry, good morning. I don't know if anyone knows Tiki Tiki Tembo. It's a book that I remember reading as a child. I just said Shari and Barry. If you've read the song, you know why that made me laugh. Rosa and Debbie, Arlene and Linda, good morning. Hi, Jacqueline. Catherine, Sandy, Boker Tov. Julianne and Nathalia, Peter, hi. Jonathan, Deborah, Boker Tov, my friends. Kim, sending love to Nantucket, good to see you. Michelle, hi. Almost Shabbat Shalom. Penny, you're on your way to your grandkids and you still tuned in. That's how devoted you are to this community. Arlene, thanks for counting for Penny too. All right, let's say hi to a few more people, then we're going to get started with some Torah. Chana and Cecile, Ellen and Roberta, Joyce, good morning. Oh, that was a good segue for where we're going to go with Torah today. Susie in Toronto, sending love. Mahin and Debbie, Barbara and Natalie, good morning. Hi, Tziona. Fabrice, sending love to Paris. Amy and Chana. I'm glad you loved that book as a kid. Deborah, your father would have been 82 today. May his memory be for a blessing. Rose and Stacy, good morning. All right, if I've missed anyone, Anthony, good morning. Let's take a breath. We're getting ready for a day. We're getting ready for Shabbat. Here we go. Everybody. It is so good to be together. There are a million things happening in our world, many of them not simple. Coming together and knowing that we'll see each other is among the simplest of gifts, and what a gift it has been for over 4 years. I want to mention some of what you've shared. Friends, we are all praying for the return of the hostages. We're praying for a meaningful peace, praying for a better day for the world and for Am Yisrael. Judy is sharing, and this is important to share, though it's hard, is that there were a number of soldiers killed yesterday in what seems like friendly fire, which is not even a term that makes any sense to me. And one of them was a lone soldier, Chayal Boded, which means someone who is serving, having made Aliyah to Israel, but their family is not with them. And so one of the soldiers who died yesterday was a lone soldier that Judy had had dinner with. I'm sending you such comfort, my friend. And Linda is right now visiting her parents, grandparents, grand aunts, and uncles' graves at the cemetery in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And that itself is also a way of being present in this world, truly, you know, owning our history, standing really upon it, and knowing that not all of the moments are simple, that we carry forward and that we carry forward. Because among the things in this Torah portion that I want to make sure we amplify, and I've mentioned it a few times this week already, is that Parshat Emor talks about the cycle of time and the holidays. And that tells you that even a generation that was just emancipated from enslavement in Egypt needed a sense of time that they didn't decide each moment on their own. Ritual, when it's part of creating a calendar, tells us that time moves forward, and we are commanded, compelled, magnetized to it. That's a gift. Shabbat itself is a way of knowing that time moves forward. Nisham and I had the experience just weeks after October 7th, sitting at Romamu, a beautiful shul in Manhattan, Saturday night for a concert and solidarity gathering with families of hostages. And there was Havdalah, which separates Shabbat from the rest of the week. And I remember hearing from the brother of a hostage, who's, thank God, been reunited with his sister, one of the lucky few. He said he felt very strange because Havdalah tells me that it's a new day, but it has not become a new day for him. And for so many still, friends, that's where we are. Probably on an existential level, though not as viscerally for most of us, thank God. It is also a way of saying we are commanded to move forward through time. It's unfathomable that since October 7th there have been all of these holidays. But here we are. And among the ways that we mark traditions, listen to what Arlene is sharing, that her husband's grandfather, who was a farmer in Germany, used to share that you can plant flowers after Parshat Emor in the spring. Just think about what that means. That means the Parsha tells me that it's springtime. So friends, it's not that life has become simpler, but let's remember that we are moving forward through time. As Ron has pointed out, it is day 25 in the counting of the Omer, which is where I wanted to focus actually the learning just for a moment. We're halfway to Shavuot. Time does move on. It's not that all the answers have been provided. It's not all of our prayers have been answered. But we are alive. And it is important for us to retain that, to tend to that, to go exercise, to eat something, to have some good coffee in the morning, to find your friends, to learn Torah, to count how many times we have learned together. Since October 7th, which is 224, and since March 18th of 2020, which is 1054, and here we are. Here we are again, ready, friends, to learn. So just a little bit of additional Torah, even though we've already shared so much. In this week's Parsha, we hear about the counting of the Omer. And I read a wonderful comment by Rabbi David Kasher this week. And he says this beautiful, he sent out, you should get on his email list. He's just a beautiful writer, and he's got such a soul, and he really knows his text. So one of the things he does is he points out that the Omer had three components at least. One of them was we had to count it every day and believe that it was going to be there. You had to have faith that everyone would have what they need, because the Omer relates to the manna. Counting the Omer, which is actually counting the barley crop when we eventually do get to the Promised Land, counting the Omer is marked by the way that we count time. The language about Omer includes Shabbat, and so this is what we do. This is what we do. We count time, and the Omer was a certain amount, and everybody would have enough of the manna. An Omer, a measure of manna, of heavenly sustenance. And what a thing that is to consider. Everyone will have enough. Everyone will have enough. Isn't that a beautiful dream? In addition to that, there's also another component that actually it will appear the next day. God will provide. I don't know your theology. I don't always lean on that kind of theology, but it would be nice to believe that God were going to provide what everyone needs. This is evidence that that's not the case right now. And I think we are entitled, maybe even obligated, to have a conversation with heaven about what is and is not right so far. A place for venting that kind of anger and disappointment is part of what a prayer life demands, offers. The third is that on Fridays, today, when we were in the desert receiving manna, we were told not to gather the manna on Shabbat, but to gather double what we needed on Friday. That means to take a risk for the next day. To believe that resting is okay. And that's where I wanted to focus just for a moment. There was no manna that was offered on Shabbat, so we gathered a little bit more on Friday so we would have enough for Shabbat too. Resting matters, friends. It's been 224 days. I look at faces like Rachel, Hirsch's mother, and Jonathan, Hirsch's father, and the countless other family members, community members, all of us, my colleagues at UJA, indefatigably working to connect as we will today. Stay tuned to the Facebook page for some updates with hostages' families. We love them so much. And we have to believe that taking a rest, maybe even helping them find a moment for their mind to rest somehow, not that I truly understand how that could happen, that resting itself matters. The Omer is an ongoing cycle where we count the days. But the ancient counting, the ancient collection of manna, which was the measure of sustenance that every people needed, that was collected each day, it's a lesson right now, I think, that we need. That resting is the only way to continue the work when the week begins again. So I want to bless us to be strong enough and brave enough to take a rest. Shabbos begins tonight. Shabbos begins tonight. Put it down. For 25 hours if you can, and I have to work hard at this too these days. Put it down. We never put our family down. We never leave them behind. But let your mind rest. Have something good to eat. Sleep a little bit later, maybe, if you can. See a friend. Take a walk. Notice the sky. See a flower. Read a book. Have some tea. Rest. I know it sounds counterintuitive given the language, certainly that I use, that we use all the time, especially recently. But rest for a minute. Take care of your heart. Take care of your soul. We read on Shabbat that even God did. Shabbat vayinafash. God resouled God's self, whatever that means. Give yourself that gift, friends. You deserve it. And we need it. Because the work will continue on Sunday, no matter what it is, no matter what it looks like. Let in some air. Let in some air. Part of how I do that, at least, is this. So sing with me. It's a Shabbos song. Almost in tune. right, friends, do me a favor. We sing Hatikva after every broadcast, and we send our hearts to the east. Include your heart in the place you're sending your heart to. Send your heart to yourself because it's big enough to be shared. Allow your heart to reinflate this Shabbat. I know I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to anybody else. So friends, take care of yourself and continue giving of yourself to our world. But remember that you can only keep doing that if you take care of your own heart too. Let's sing Hatikva. Send our hearts to the east. And allow your hand maybe to rest on your heart just to remember where, who, and how beautiful you are. Kolon baleva penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו Eretz Zion Virushalayim. Am Yisrael Chai. Bring them home now. Shabbat Shalom, friends. See you on Monday. Take care.